At least 4 people have died in a Russian missile strike in the regions of Kyiv and Kharkiv in Ukraine. Dominic Waghorn has more.
As far as the Ukrainians are concerned, I think they have a sense of frustration and a sense of fear and a worry that the West hasn't really got it and is being a bit complacent about the situation at the moment. What we've seen in the last 24 hours or so here is some of the biggest of these kind of strikes that we've seen the Russians launch using missiles and drones, largely at the energy infrastructure of Ukraine, and they have plunged cities like Dnipro, a population here of 1 million people, plunged into icy darkness. Sound generators around me, but most people are living in very cold apartment blocks and facing a miserable night after night. And for many of them, it's very dangerous. If you're elderly living in these kind of temperatures, then you're looking at a winter ahead that could claim your life. So deeply worrying for the Ukrainians, and no sense of a let-up from this aerial assault the Russians are launching against these major cities across Ukraine. I think that the fear amongst Ukrainians is that they feel that the West is getting a sense of complacency and that they feel the Ukrainians have pushed back against the Russians in Kherson. They've pushed back around Kharkiv. They're putting up a valiant defence around in the Donbass. And I think in the West there is a sense that there'll be a pause in the winter and the Ukrainians will continue in the same direction in the year ahead. And the Ukrainians have a fear that the Russians are biding their time. They are rallying their troops. They've mobilised hundreds of thousands of troops. They now have a new commander, a brutal but very capable general, General Surovikin, who's nickname is General Armageddon, and under his command they are planning a counter-offensive. The Ukrainian generals, as we heard, that he fears that could come in possibly to do with the anniversary of the invasion at the end of February. So there's that fear, and there's a real frustration amongst Ukrainians that they are not getting the weapons they need to see off this threat. Frankly, they should have got Patriot missile air defence systems months ago. The Americans are now signalling they are going to get them, but the Ukrainians feel they should have had it months ago because the Russians have shown that they are willing and capable of carrying out these attacks on the energy infrastructure of Ukraine, and they feel they should get more of that kind of weapon system to see off the threat. So I think there is a sense of fear that there's a sense of complacency building in the West, and they're warning the West that if they don't get the weapons they need, they don't get more support, then next year could be very different to what generals in the West are expecting.